Hi, I'm the guy responsible for all the videos on this channel. Every video you see that's posted out is done by myself. So, what I was thinking of doing today is just kind of a small little video on the birds you can expect to see in your average UK garden. Now, these include your smaller passerine birds such as tits, finches and sparrows, and your larger average birds such as corvids and different types of pigeons. Let's get started. So, some basics to start off with about where I live. I live in a suburban area. This means that the birds I'm likely to get in my garden are going to be both city and country based. I live in an area where there's lots of urbanization, but also lots of country too. And as you can see in this shot where I'm panning across my garden's back fence, there's lots of houses in the background, but also very near me, there's a park where a lot of my birds come from, which you'll see soon enough. It should also be noted that I have two separate feeders in my garden. This one is the main feeder where most of the bird action takes place. The other one is just a single nut feeder that mainly attracts tit species, but also attracts a few sparrows every now and then. And on the topic of sparrows, let's start off with them first. House sparrows are probably the most common bird I get in my garden, with multiple, maybe 10 at a time, landing on the feeder at once. They also don't seem to have a particular taste in my garden. They can land on any of the feeders, ranging from the sunflower hearts all the way to the Niger. And as their name suggests, they are very closely affiliated with humans, most of the time building their nests on man-made structures such as houses and other buildings. Multiple house sparrows also nest around where I live. Here's a female standing guard outside her nest, which is underneath this gutter, with what appears to be food in her mouth. And here's the male doing the same, also with food in his mouth. Chances are, if you have an urban or suburban garden in the UK, you're almost guaranteed to encounter this bird in your garden. They're chirpy, bright, energetic, and they're here to stay all year round. So, a bit of a plot change today. It has been snowing a lot of this morning. I don't know what is wrong with the weather in Ireland, honestly. Middle of April and we're still getting snow. But never mind, doesn't change anything. I'm still out here to shit the birds. We've got some lovely clear weather for us right now, so the weather's complimenting us. So, let's get into it. Yes, we were having snow in April, but no biggie. That doesn't stop me from filming the birds. Now, on to the next one. Starlings are another seriously common bird in my garden that is also found largely in urban areas, mainly building their nests in the crevices of houses and such. Some starlings also nest around where I live, but I wasn't able to get any videos of them while they were nesting. One thing I will say about the ones in my garden is that they have a massive affiliation towards the mixed seed feeder. They're very picky, only plucking out individual bits at a time and knocking loads more onto the ground, but it's all fine, because what is knocked out is eaten up by other birds anyway. There isn't much else to say about starlings, so enjoy these few extra videos. One extra thing I will say though, is that house sparrows and starlings are often seen in similar areas, and so they will often feed together with one another. Up next are pigeons. I know not a lot of people particularly like these birds, but I really do. Smaller than wood pigeons, these guys are another largely urban inhabiting bird. Most larger towns will have many inhabiting pigeons living in their quarters, usually nearer to the city's centre, but there will also be pigeons living closer to the rural fringe, usually around cul-de-sacs and living areas. Pigeons are also scavengers, feeding on pretty much anything they can find that they think is food for them. This includes stuff such as bread, seeds, grains, and dropped human food, such as chips and other non-meat products. And while you may not like pigeons, they're always going to be around. While I don't often see blackbirds in my garden, a local pair nests very near my house. I often hear and see the male singing on rooftops, and I also often see the pair of them feeding on the ground out in my neighbour's front garden. It was quite difficult for me to get a good film on this particular blackbird, as with how thrushes usually are, it kept on avoiding me by moving away, flying off and hiding behind trees and bushes. I did manage to get a good few videos of both of them and more though. Here's the female washing herself from across the street in my neighbour's gutter.
When I see the male feeding, he always does it in a very specific way, which is true to blackbirds in general. Hop forward, check the ground for any food, and if there's none there, hop forward again. Mistle Thrushes are another thrush that I've only began seeing pop up recently in my neighbourhood. I've seen them down in my local park before, mainly making a racket, but never up where I live. Mistle Thrushes are much bigger than blackbirds, almost approaching a collared dove in size. They're still just as skittish as blackbirds though. Like the blackbirds as well, a local pair has, I think, begun nesting somewhere around my house, as I keep seeing them pop up from time to time in the same place. I can't be sure of where they're nesting though. Down the street where a few more of my neighbours live, a local blue-tit has taken up the space in their nesting box. Another common garden bird I see very often is the goldfinch. These colourful birds are found all across the UK and Ireland, and you will almost certainly come across them if you have Niger seed in your garden feeder. Weirdly enough though, the ones that visit my garden have a preference for the sunflower hearts. All the goldfinches that come to my garden come from down in my local park. I know this because every time they fly off from the feeder, they fly off in that direction. Goldfinches are easily recognisable, even from a distance. The yellow band on their wings should make it extremely obvious, and their red and black head even more so. Their call is also an easily recognisable one. In flight, it's a quiet twitter, usually heard when they fly overhead, and it almost sounds like some sort of squeaky dog toy. This next bird I've only seen a handful of times in my garden, although it has seemed to be becoming a more and more regular visitor as of late, the Eurasian Siskin. I don't really know that much about this strikingly colourful finch, other than the fact that their habitat is much the same of other finches, mainly consisting of woodland. It only comes down when there are almost no other birds present at the feeder, which I'm guessing is because of its very skittish demeanour. I'm also pretty sure that this bird comes from down in my local park, but I can't be too certain. It does fly off in that general direction sometimes, but not all the time. What is clear to me though, is that a pair does live around where I live. I have also seen the female at my feeder a handful of times now, but I haven't been able to get any videos or pictures of her. Corvids are up next. Jackdaws are the most common type of crow I get in my garden. Another mainly urban bird, anywhere where people are present, these birds will be too. I very often see jackdaws with other crows and gulls around my local retail park that's just across my road. Like pigeons, crows are also scavengers, pecking at anything they think is food. Here's one that appears to have a large piece of bread in its mouth. Rooks are another common type of crow that is generally seen in the same areas as where jackdaws are. I was only able to get one good video of a rook, as the ones that visit my garden typically don't like to stick around for very long. The last type of crow I have is the hooded crow, a cousin to the carrion crow which isn't present in Ireland. I was only able to get one video of this type of bird, calling out to a mate most likely. The final bird I have for this video is the feral pigeon's big cousin, the wood pigeon. These birds make up around half the birds I see down in my local park, but surprisingly, these ones weren't filmed down there. They were filmed much farther away in a place called Roe Valley. I do hope you enjoyed this bird video. If you did, consider checking out some of my other stuff that I do on this channel, which mostly consists of birds now anyway. If you do enjoy my content, consider clicking my channel icon and subscribing, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's all up to yourself. Thank you for watching. See you in the next bird video.